That's a good fam. Peace and blessings. This is RauKhu more. And in this video, I wanted to talk about why is it that there are so many people who are focused on trying to prove that the Kemetic people were not black. You know, I'm just, when I first started this channel and I started bringing out this information and everything and sharing my experience, I can't tell you the number of people number of trolls who have basically just messaged me trying to tell me the Kemetic people were not black. I mean, it's so many of them, it just makes no sense. And I'm sitting up here and I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, of course, when I get this, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have time to deal with this, and I just move on. But it just really amazed me how many of these individuals are just, who have no life, are just sitting around just, hey, let me jump on here and tell this, this person that, the Kemetic people are not black, there's no way, blah, 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 And it got me thinking, it got me wondering, why are these people, why is so many people focused on trying to prove this, no, they're not black. And it got me thinking about the fact that it all refers back to conjuring, all right? Now, remember, as I've mentioned in the previous video, that conjuring from a Western perspective is not just, from a Western perspective, when they talk about conjuring, they talk about basically, calling the spirit out, and they want the spirit or entity or whatever to do their bidding. Okay, that's what they refer to as conjuring. That's what that silly movie about conjuring, that's what they deal with. Okay, but from an African perspective, when you talk about conjuring, you're creating a new reality. You're causing a kind of like a paradigm shift. And when I got to thinking about that, it kind of made me think about the fact that part of the reason why a lot of these people are going ahead and they're so focused on this is because they're trying to create a reality and make us agree with the reality that they created. For instance, if you go back and you look at, for instance, the biblical story of Adam and Eve, all right, they've already proven historically, if you went ahead and you were to actually estimate this, and we're talking 4,000, maybe 4,000 years or so, that's how old Adam would be based upon the writings. Okay, maybe let's give him a few more years, maybe 1,000, maybe 2-3 more years or so, so maybe 7,000 years. That's how old they may be, possibly, maybe. Okay, well, that would mean that if that is the case, that would kind of mean that our ancestors are older, because we're older than that, right? And the fact that they keep trying to go ahead and push this Adam and Eve story or narrative is an attempt to really humanize us, and not only humanize us, but also humanize God. And the more I thought about this, I'm like, part of the reason why they're focusing and they keep focusing on this and they keep trying to say, hey, okay, well, the Kemetic people, they weren't black or any of this, it's because they're trying to really force this narrative down everybody's throat that Adam and Eve were the first people of humanity. Okay, we're not going to even address the fact that they stole this. Okay, we're not going to address that they stole the whole concept of Adam from Atom. Okay, the Kemetic Atom. Not going to even address that. the point that I'm making is that they're trying their best to really try to put an age on God. We've been here longer, okay? And you can't put an age on God. And that's what they're trying to do. And by them trying to do that, and if we accept that they do this, and accept this whole, the whole biblical narrative that, okay, well, Adam and Eve are the first, which means that everybody descended from Adam and Eve, that establishes them as being the head of everything. All right? It also establishes them as being supposedly Kemetic people. Okay? And that's not the case. Okay? So what I'm showing you and what I'm trying to say is that really what they're doing is they're trying to create a reality and trying to get us to basically accept that reality. To put it loosely, they've drank the Kool-Aid and they're trying to get us to drink the Kool-Aid too. Okay? Now, just to give you an example, and why I don't even deal with this anymore. Interesting thing. I went ahead and I was, I think I went to a bookstore or so and saw this book on Egyptian magic. Okay. And I've heard, a lot of people talk about, oh, this book was all this, and it was a great book. And I'm not going to mention the book because I'm not trying to even give them any kind of, light or anything. And I'm not trying to put them in, give them any shade or anything either. But basically, they was like, oh, yeah, it's Egyptian magic and this and that and the other. And just happened to pick up the book and I started, just wanted to read it to see what they were talking about, to see what all the hoopla was about. And I turned to the section on Impu, all right, or Anubis. So I'm sitting up here and I'm reading, and I was reading and they were talking about how the author was talking about how they meditated, and based upon their meditation, Impu or Anubis went ahead and really spoke to them and everything, and they got a better understanding of Anubis by studying dogs and looking at wolves and all that kind of stuff, doing a lot of studying and research about that, and it was really fascinating, and I remember when I was reading it, I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. They went ahead and they got all that just from doing all this, and they was like, after they did all this, and after they did all this studying, all this research and all that kind of stuff, that they erected an altar and they put the altar at the entrance of their home, and since then they haven't had any problems and all this other kind of stuff. And like I said, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. That's just great. And after reading all that, and I was like, wow, after they did all that and did all that just to connect. And I was like, I connected to Impu by just going to the crossroad. And that was it. That's how I met my Impu. That's how I met Impu. I just went to a crossroad. Okay? So you see what I'm saying? This is in our culture. It's in our blood. It's in our DNA. And the reason why they're going through all this, trying to convince us that the Kemetic people ain't black, is because they're trying to get us to totally turn our back on our culture and on our way of life and on our ancestral way of doing things, knowing good and damn well that this is alien to them. Because we don't have to go through all that to connect to any of the Neteru or any of these spirits. We don't have to go through all that. I'm not going to go into why we don't have to go through it and everything. Just know We don't have to go through all that. Okay? I mean, it helps if you want to, but as I stated, all we got to do is go ahead and remember who we are. Remember and tap into that higher self. And we can make that connection. All right? So ignore all these people and their whole argument of trying to get us to get off, out of alignment and get onto this whole bandwagon thing of trying to prove, oh, well, the Kemetic people are this and that. And forget all that, okay? We've already done the research. It's valid. The historical information is valid. The historical information is good. But we don't have time to sit up here and debate. We've already done that. Our scholars have already done that. This and the individuals in which we've listed already, Dr. John Henry Clarke, Dr. Ben, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, and we can go on and on and on. They've already done that for us. We just need to go ahead and take that information now, take it to the next level, and start focusing on improving our lives, improving the lives of our family, and improving the lives of our community and our folks. All right? So, as I mentioned before, if you got any questions or comments, feel free, share. Okay? Again, thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. Until next time, that's a bro. Peace.
Just take it on to the house. Come on.